I was going to sue you.
And what's going to be happening now? You
The way I'd like to describe it is like a kind of Bauhaus cartoon character, so it's very cartoon character designed with the principles of the early modernist movement, so it's form follows function, no extraneous features. When I left college, I was into doing weird cartoons, and it seemed like the mainstream sort of world didn't want to commission me to do anything commission anything in that sort of style, because they weren't sure if it was for children or if it was for it was a bit weird for children, but it was a bit childish for adults.
I think this is like
At some point, through connections we had in the Far East, we had an opportunity to turn one of his illustrations into a 3D plastic figure. And we were completely blown away to have that kind of facility, because we thought that was the realms of big companies. So we took it and developed the plastic figure, again to use for marketing and promotion for the clothes. But it took on a life of its own, and from that point on we realised that we needed to carry on making toys, because there were people that demanded that we continue to make toys.
I think it's because it's a little bit unusual. It's not the typical run-of-the-mill. His designs are very, very, very simple, but the characters have got funny names, and the graphic novel that he did is very, very humorous. It's got the British humour to it, which I don't know how it translates in other countries, but over here, it's basically what we like. We like a little bit of sarcasm, we like a bit of, stupidness, and that's what his stuff is full of, really. They've all got ridiculous names, they all look quite odd, and I think that's where all the interest comes from, really. The Japanese market is very detailed in what they do. They will do the same figure but with different paint jobs, and it's a huge, big collectible thing. Like, people would want to get every one of that figure, but all in different colours. They are aimed at collectibles.
I think that thing with Japan is that possibly it's a very visually literate culture. It's visually obsessed, much more probably than the West. And sometimes maybe it's because their writing system's a visual writing system, based on pictograms. I don't know if it's something embedded in the national psyche, but they seem to be much more comfortable with embracing quite different looking visual things. They have an accepted tradition of comic books and an accepted tradition of illustrated characters. So then when we took what we did for our fashion company to Japan and marketed our fashion company in a really odd way, they embraced it. Bauhaus, but Tintin's machine is slightly different. The copyright. Yeah. That's the thing. I remember with fans, like there's a guy that looks a bit like. We wanted to create something that had the potential to be universally popular. So when we wrote Vortigern's Machine, we wanted to have those kind of interesting references, so they would have interesting pop culture references in it, but we wanted those references to be something that everyone could get, that you didn't have to have gone to art school to get. For Vortigern's Machine, we actually developed the archetypes for the characters before they were drawn. So we decided on the mechanics of what we would need to tell a story, and it's very, very much our as you would write a book, I think, that you decide on the characters before you flesh them out, decide on what part they're going to take in the story.
Of course. It's ridiculous.
But you know, after someone wrote, has the right to.
I'm creating worlds for my characters to live in that are governed by my own laws, and some of those things reflect on our world, but some of them are things that are my own flights of fantasy. So, you know, my own obsessions and prejudices and, you know, interests.
But these ones, they come in this set, these guys, they're Japanese figures.
I don't want to.
They come in this set with these guys.
We're selling out very quickly, which constantly getting restocks in, and it's just nice finally to have a British designer what people are desperate for. So when he does come in for signings, it feels like it's coming home kind of thing. Finally, we're getting our own toy designer doing what we like to do, which is funny, cute toys, really.